In today's video, we are going to return to our investigation in Antarctica. But before we do so, I have one final thing to say about the situation in South America. The Bible teaches us in Matthew 5 and 9 that blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. The situation in both Venezuela and Bolivia. Do you really honestly think the role of the RD criminal organization controlling Washington, D.C. is playing the role of peacemaker? Do you think their efforts have been in an attempt to bring peace? If not, then you would have to ask yourself what their true intentions really are and who they are. And that's all I'll have to say about that. Now, there's been a lot of speculation about whether this investigation is conspiracy, whether what we're seeing is real or not. I'd like to start today with things that are accepted fact, and then walk you through what we have found and see if you come out to the other side with an idea of what the truth may be. We're going to start here at Forbes. Now, Forbes is a pretty well accepted site. Scientists find evidence for life in warm, steamy caves beneath Antarctica's ice. Now, within this article, there is a statement that should be front page news around the world, but it isn't. And I'm going to show you what that is. It has to do with what they found. Average temperatures on Ross Island are around 1 degree on the surface and covered with kilometers of ice. But the cave systems below can reach 77 degrees. Both conditions, that meaning this faint amount of light that they are saying is allowed in, this has been one of the sticking points with my audience, is that how could there be life down there if there's no light because of all the ice? Well, even a small crack in the ice would allow light to filter through, and you wouldn't need very much. Anybody who's been in a perfectly dark room, even the teeniest, tiniest little LED will illuminate the entire room, as will just a lit match. Once again, the Bible says the light pierced the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. That was paraphrased, of course, but you know what I'm saying. Now, they speak here of this area near Mount Erebus. Here's the part that should be front page news. Talking about these DNA samples of moss and algae and lichen and all this small invertebrates, these are all similar species as found elsewhere in Antarctica, so it's not unrealistic to believe they could have lived in the ice caves. However, here's the headline. Some of the DNA doesn't appear to match any other group of plant or animal and may belong to something entirely undiscovered. Under the ice in Antarctica, they have discovered DNA of something they don't have any idea what it is. It matches no plant, it matches no animal in an area with copious amounts of fresh water, where life abounds, where it's warm enough for even you and I to walk around. If most people had to live in a room that was 77 degrees, they would probably call it moderately stuffy or uncomfortable. It's 5 degrees above room temperature. While they didn't find any conclusive evidence during that jaunt, these tunnels are extensive, and even they have said they haven't had a chance to map even 1% of them. Now, strangely enough, regarding one of my videos that I called Ancient Manhattan, there's been found a giant underground cavern in Antarctica almost the size of Manhattan. And this is where I would like to maybe play peacemaker myself with a couple of groups of people. I brought up this image because I think it would be something that most people could wrap their head around. This is Lake Vostok. It's a lake under 2.2 miles of ice in eastern Antarctica. Now, they've said that there are caverns, confirmed, that are 1,000 feet high, and this 2/3 the size of the island of Manhattan. Would it be beyond the realm of possibility that you could have a cavern, say, 1.2 miles high, the size of Texas? By science's own admission, the mechanism for creating such a thing exists down there. It's just a matter of scale. And they've also admitted they don't have the ability to search this entire continent. It's nearly the size of the United States. Imagine a dome of ice where you could take off a small plane, fly up to 5,000 or 6,000 feet, and go 400 or 500 miles in each direction and not be anywhere near the dome above you. Still have a mile of ice, even if you did encounter the dome above you. You see, that could be a reality. And it could be a reality one place. Imagine encountering a cavern that science says exists, that we know of as fact, and following it to one of these giant open areas where there could be life. This could be one of those openings. Now, here's where I'm going to lose some people, but I want you to please maintain an open mind about something. This is a screenshot from, it's a game. It's called World of Warcraft. There have been some things that have gone on in this giant online game, some things in the storyline that have paralleled history very closely. In the most recent iteration, this character on the right, this purple elf that very much resembles a character known as Lilith from history, confronts what she describes as a usurper sitting on a throne in an icy realm. Now, many people are of the opinion that there are the fallen trapped under the ice in Antarctica. Could very well be. But by virtue of her defeating this usurper, she shatters this dome of ice, what it appears to be, over a flat plain. This would be the part that I think some people might have a problem with. Because the idea is this. And let's see if I can describe this properly. Not exactly a globe, somewhat squished, is described as an oblate spheroid, meaning that we aren't exactly perfectly round, but there are two locations on the planet where, for all intents and purposes, it would be flat, and that would be at the North Pole and Antarctica. Now, if Antarctica, because of its location, were truly, for all intents and purposes, flat, and there were a dome of ice over a civilization, beyond their quote-unquote ice wall would lie other lands, the lands that we already know. That, to me, might be the compromise, might be the truth, because this is always the case. No matter how crazy sometimes a theory is, there's always pieces of truth. What if what we're being revealed isn't that our entire planet is flat, but that there is a hidden civilization, advanced, many of them, maybe multiple civilizations down there. There could be what we know as the Greys, There could be giants. There could be descendants of the German expedition that went down there in the 40s. There could be Lemurians, Agarthians, whatever you want to call them. And having been separated from mainstream modern society, only now coming back into our consciousness, this might be something that's being revealed just subconsciously. Or maybe they've made a few of them into our world and are attempting to reveal this story, being hidden from us. Which would explain why most of the governments of the world have called this off limits, because they don't want the average person understanding what this means. It's my personal opinion. I humbly submit it, attempting to bring peace to an argumentative situation that's occurred here on this platform. You could be right, and also a little wrong. And those who have completely tried to debunk the flat earth movement, they might be right, but also wrong in some ways. This would explain both stories. That the greatest revelation coming in the next 20 to 50 years will be the civilization that was lost, that continued, completely absent of everyone else. So I will, I guess, just leave that there. In tomorrow's video, I have 6 or 7 other discoveries for you that, once again, go along with the 100 others that we found that support a civilization thriving in Antarctica. Like, share, subscribe.